Hi everyone, and welcome to my radio broadcast. Today we'll be discussing Book 1 of C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. Alright, so the main goal of this book is to get people into the hallway and thinking about Christianity. You might be wondering what the hallway is. Well, first we actually have to start at the house. Once you're saved, you enter a metaphorical house. Inside this house, there is a hallway that gives you a place to think about the different denominations of Christianity and decide on your own denominational beliefs. Lewis begins his book by meeting his target audience where they're at. He knows that the people he is trying to reach have mostly rejected Christianity or become extremely apathetic towards God. He starts off by making his example applicable to everyone. So let's apply this to ourselves and each other for a second. Whether you want to or not, I don't think that any of you are going to get up and walk out of the room without a good excuse. Why, though? Because we all know the difference between right and wrong. We have instilled in us the law of human nature, telling us what it is we are supposed to do and what it is we aren't. The law of human nature is instilled in everyone. There are rules set in place to make sure that we go to school every day, and we follow those rules because we know it's the right thing to do. If we didn't have these rules, our lives would be complete confusion. While everyone does not have a sense of right and wrong, there will always still be people who try to oppose the law of human nature. There are two main types of oppositions to the law of human nature: instinct and social convention. Instinct is a strong desire to act in a certain way. One example of the opposition of instinct is if I saw someone get into a car wreck. My first instinct would probably be to stay out of harm's way and call someone else to help them. However, the right choice would be to help the person anyway. Then there's the opposition of social convention. Social convention is something that is learned from society or throughout education. Social convention can mainly be seen as an invention by humans. Just because we are taught this certain right and wrong does not mean it is absolutely correct. An example of real truth versus social convention is addition versus the speed limit. Obviously, addition is something that can be proven as a fact and cannot be changed, such as 2 + 2 = 4. However, the speed limit is something that is not universal and could be changed if it was seen fit. Just because the speed limit is 55 on the highway in Jackson does not mean that it is the exact same on a highway in Los Angeles. Both places are right, they just have different rules because they are under different circumstances. The law of human nature is real truth that cannot be changed. We know what we ought to do and we still choose not to do it. The problem is we cannot live up to the law of human nature. C.S. Lewis stated, "This very day, we have failed to practice ourselves the kind of behavior we expect from everyone else. We still do things that we know aren't right, but love to correct others on their behavior." We can't really do that considering we aren't even doing what we're supposed to be doing. This brings us to the question of where the law of human nature even came from. It obviously didn't come from us because we can't even follow it, but we also know it didn't just appear out of thin air. So here's two views we're going to look at this from: the materialist view and the religious view. The materialist view states that matter and space just happen to exist, nobody knows why or how, and by random chance, all the things were formed, including humans who were able to think, reason, communicate through love, language, etc. The problem though, even if science were to one day become so complete that it could explain everything in the universe, we still wouldn't be able to answer the question about our purpose. The religious view states that what is behind the universe is more like a mind than it is anything else we know. There must be someone behind all of this, but who is it? What can we know about this someone, and how can that affect our lives? Here are some things we do know about this someone. They must stand for all of the things he expects us to uphold. He expects us to uphold the moral law even when it's hard, painful, or dangerous. Even though we want to be his exception, we know we can't be because he wouldn't be good and we hate injustice. We also know that because we fail to keep the moral law every day, we are hopelessly making ourselves more and more of an enemy toward this someone. But it is only at this point that Christianity becomes convincing. We are told to repent and ask God for forgiveness, but can't we only do that if we've accepted that we've done something that needs to be forgiven? An example of this could easily be made from school. When we are working through our math problems, we don't call on the teacher for help. But as soon as we start to struggle and realize we don't know what we're doing, we call on them immediately. We do the same thing with God. When we don't accept that we are doing the wrong thing and need to be forgiven, we don't think we need God. However, as soon as we realize that we are messing up left and right and have no clue what we're doing, we call on Him for help and guidance. Each of us has to decide for ourselves what path we want to take, the path of comfort or the path of truth. In all actuality, the uncomfortable path is the only one that will actually lead us to comfort. The main point of all of this is to point people to God and get them in the hallway so that they can ultimately decide for themselves.